No, I was just going to, good morning, everybody, and appreciate the opportunity to speak on behalf of the offensive side of the ball for the Bearcats. And we're really excited about the opportunity to play in this game. The players have worked their tails off since, early August and even July to kind of put themselves in this opportunity. It's obviously a reward for a very good, hard-fought season to put themselves in this position. We're awful proud of them. We're awful proud of the progress that we've made offensively, and we're hoping to get our opportunity to show what we're capable of doing when we get an opportunity to go against what we feel like is by far the most talented and deepest defense we've faced this season. And look forward to watching Desmond and a bunch of the other guys have a big day on Friday.
All right, guys, we'll go ahead with questions. Please identify who your question is for. Justin Williams, Smith Athletic, you can lead us off.
Coach, you just kind of mentioned it, but looking at their defense on film, there's a lot of talk about, difference in recruiting rankings or things like that. Is there a immediate talent or size speed difference that jumps out based on who you guys have faced so far this year?
Well, there's an immediate everything that you mentioned. Big physical football players that can run, tackle very well in space, contest everything, really, really aggressive with their scheme and what they do. And then on top of that, they're incredible with, how multiple they are and the different looks that they give you and the different things that you have to prepare for. It would probably bode well for us if we had another 30-day layoff just to get ready for a lot of the things that they do and how they do it. But it's a great challenge, obviously, to match up in any way against this group. But we're going to do the best we can when we get our opportunity.
Chad Brendel, go ahead with your question.
Coach, what have you seen from your guys so far in these couple practices that you've been able to get in that leads you to game planning this Georgia defense and trying to solve the Rubik's Cube that is a team that does so many things well?
Yeah, I mean, I think the first thing is that we're excited to be in this game and excited to have the opportunity to play it. And, with all the uncertainty of this season, I don't think any of us knew where it was going to end or how, what opportunities were going to be available to us as a football team. And then to have this incredible opportunity to play against what, I would consider a blue blood program and somebody that year in and year out does it as good as anybody does it in college football. To take our football team down there and have an opportunity to play against them and use it as a growing tool and use it as a measuring stick and use it as a way for us to put our program on display is something that's very exciting, I think, to the players and everybody in our program.
Charlie Goldsmith, go ahead with your question.
Hey, Desmond. I kind of have a bigger picture question here. Kind of take yourself back. What led you to become a quarterback? And I guess how in general did you start at that position?
I would definitely say it started when I was younger. I played a lot of sports growing up. Baseball was one of them. So, I was always out in the backyard, tossing either football or baseball. And then, really what ultimately got me into football was one of my best friends was playing and my dad had convinced me to play. So then once I got there, I was just pre-practice just throwing around the football and they were like, hey, you play baseball? And I was like, yeah. And they was like, okay, well, let's put a football in your hands. And that's about it.
Mike Griffin, go ahead with your question.
Yeah, Desmond, I know you can't really do a lot till you get out there and make pre-snap reads and all that, but as far as watching Georgia on film, what are some things that jump out at you about this defense?
Like Coach said, they're big, they're fast, they're strong, physical, and they're smart. They're lengthy on the outsides and they play smart ball. If they make a mistake, they're going to be able to cover like anyone else and make up ground. They're big up front. They like to win. Their backers are smart, physical players. They like to fill gaps. But we're going to go out and play football.
Justin Williams, go ahead with question.
Des, there's been a lot of talk about kind of that SMU game and how the offense really seemed to jumpstart after that. What do you feel was your best game individual performance so far this season, and why?
I would definitely say either, SMU or Memphis, just from an execution standpoint. One of the main things we pride on offense is just executing and finishing plays and finishing drives and finishing games. And that was one thing that we did. I felt like from start to finish, was finish the drive and finish the game.
Anthony Dasher, go ahead with the question, sir.
Hey, Coach. In what way does Georgia getting number 99 back impact the game from your perspective?
I mean, he's a huge disruptive force, and he's not the only one, but he's certainly the way he goes about his business. He's great with his hands. He's good at getting off double teams and splitting double teams and making it very hard on what you're trying to accomplish, just because he's so disruptive in what they're doing in their scheme.
Thank you.
Jason Stam, go ahead with your question.
Desmond, it was asked of Coach Fickle earlier about, a lot of teams have had opt-outs individually, or there's been whole teams that have opted out, and you guys have been able to hold together all year, or at least during the season, and not have any opt-outs. Just from a player's perspective, what has that been like, or what does that say for you guys as a group to stay together, and what has that been? I don't know. I mean, I guess what have the talks been like as far as, everybody being able to stay together to this point?
It's been a crazy year with COVID and everything. And, COVID's really, the only other reason that people would opt out, other than declaring for a draft. So it's something we haven't seen in previous years. But, it just really shows our true culture of a team, how we can stay together as a team, what we've worked for. And we know that we want to achieve one goal, and we're going to need everyone to do that. So, everyone staying together, being one team. It's what Coach Fig has preached since he's got here, and what he's continued to preach till he leaves.
Charlie Goldsmith, go ahead with your question.
Probably too soon for this, but Desmond, have you put any thought into what your plans are after this season, draft-wise or otherwise, or is it too soon for that?
Too soon.
Justin Williams, go ahead with your question.
If you just look at from last year, like losing Mike, losing Josiah, two of definitely the biggest pieces on offense, who do you feel like, you guys numbers-wise have played even beyond that? So who do you feel like has stepped up this year to allow you guys to become such a complete team on the offense side?
I think everyone all around the ball. It starts with the five guys up front. We've had a shuffle up front, going with guys that almost, one just has started one game with James Hudson at left tackle, and then Harper got some time last year at right tackle. But the three in the middle, other than Vincent McConnell, they haven't really got much snaps over time. But they've been playing really well for us. Haven't allowed very many pressures, very many sacks, so they're stepping up big time. Then you got guys like Josh Wiley and Leonard Taylor and Bruno LaBelle, who step up and make big plays for us, fill the gaps and catch balls. And then everyone outside, Michael Young, Alec Pierce, all those guys step up big for us. And then we can give the ball off to Jerome Ford or Jared Dokes and let them go make carries. So it really is a team effort, and everyone around us makes plays.
Mark Weiser, go ahead with your question.
Coach, given your background at Notre Dame, I'm curious about your perspective of them getting in the playoff and you guys not as an undefeated team.
I'll leave that to that's a Coach Fickle question. I'll leave that to Coach Fickle and some of the other powers that be in college football. I'm just trying to get ready to face an incredible opponent on Friday.
Okay, thank you.
Anthony Dasher, go ahead with your question, sir.
Yeah, hey, Desmond, when you're preparing for a team, watching a defense for the first time, what are the first things you look for?
Size, speed. Look at their DBs. See how they cover. See how they play against press. How they play off. Just tendencies, and just see how they fly to the ball. See what type of team they are. See if they're going to go from whistle to whistle, as coach likes to say, 4 to 6, A to B. See how fast they fly around the ball. Because whatever you see on film, you're probably going to get something different on either Friday or Saturdays. Not just from the actual play of their game, but just how physical they actually play. So that would be one thing.
And what jumps out about Georgia immediately when you see that?
That they're just big and fast and strong. We're going up against so-called, one of the big guys in the country, and we're going to see and feel that like unlike we have all this season.
Thank you, man.
Mike Griffith, go ahead with your question.
Yeah, Coach, I just want to ask you a little bit about Dan Lanning and Kirby, just as far as, I know you guys have talked about Georgia's physique and speed and hitting ability, things like that, but just in terms of what they like to do scheme-wise, I know they are multiple and can do a lot of things, but as far as things you're going to get from Georgia, what would you put on that list?
Yeah, I mean, I think number one, they do a really incredible job of trying to scheme you and take away what you do well. And, their goal is to eliminate that from your, what you have on your menu to do. And so they're going to start there. Whatever tendencies you have offensively, whatever things that maybe you've used a little too much or done a little too much, they're going to make sure they've got answers for them, and not just one answer, but they're going to have answers to your answers. So this is a game going against, those two great coaches in particular, and Coach Smart, obviously from his well-chronicled history of being a great defensive coordinator and running great defenses. We've got to have just as many answers as they've got to what we're doing, and we've got to have just as many adjustments to kind of tweak our game plan as the game's going along. When they make a chess move, we've got to be able to make a chess move. When they do something to take something away, we've got to do the best that we can to exploit what they're trying to take away, and maybe go the other way or whatever it happens to be. So answers to their answers is a huge piece of it. The game is going to flow. We're going to have to adjust. We know that going in, and just having a plan for if they do take some of the things that we're really good at doing away from us, what do we do then? And that's what I'm spending. You can tell by the bags under my eyes. That's what I'm spending most of my days and nights trying to make sure that we've got answers for what they're doing.
And how much of a bonus is it to have a guy like Desmond? I mean, I got to think, sometimes when plan A doesn't work, he looks like a pretty good plan B with that mobility and his skills.
It's a huge piece of it for us. Obviously, Des has made incredible plays for us all year, whether that's with his arm or with his legs. Getting out of the pocket and being able to make some plays at the quarterback position, being mobile, I think is a big piece of the puzzle against this defense. I think it's got to be part of, keeping the football and moving the football and being effective. So he's obviously, everything that we do offensively runs through Des. He knows that. And, I think we've got to just make sure that we're doing a good job, not only of using him when we need to, but we've also got to protect him and give him an opportunity to make some plays down the field with his arm.
Charles Odom, go ahead with your question, sir.
For Desmond, when you think about making it through a season with COVID, what's been the biggest adjustment? What is it the testing that you guys have had to do? Is it something else?
The testing, that's almost every day. So that kind of gets into a routine, a little bit of a habit. But honestly, I'd say the biggest thing with us is, doing that socially distant. We talk about being a team and being as one. And part of that is, just the locker room and the brotherhood that you create within the locker room. Unfortunately, with COVID, we're not able to have everyone in the locker room, all 121 guys all packed up in a big space, sharing those times together that you would in the locker room. But instead, we have at least 4 to 5 different locker rooms where guys are spread out in that we've been doing all season to keep everyone socially distant. So we've really just, I wouldn't want to say we've lost our brotherhood, but it definitely makes it tougher for us to, become, true brothers and, just learn everyone from inside out.
Chad Brown will go with your question.
Des, Georgia is always seen as one of the top defensive units in the country. You've talked about why with their size and speed and athleticism. How much of it do you guys look at it as a personal challenge to put yourself up against, one of the best defenses in the country?
I would say a huge challenge. They talk about us as, big guys versus little guys. So, we're always out to prove everyone wrong. We go out and play with a chip on our shoulder every game. And that won't change this game. But we're gonna go out and play football. It doesn't matter who it's against, where it's at. But once the ball's down, we're gonna go play.
Justin Williams, go ahead with your question.
Coach, I know you have no impact on kind of what the broader discussion or talk is about your team, but there's always talk about more complete teams. That kind of seems to be what catches people out, whether you're talking committee rankings or anything like that. How do you feel the success Desmond and you guys as an offense have had this season has impacted the broader national perspective on Cincinnati football?
Well, I hope it enhances the discussion about our football program, and I think it has to a certain extent. I think there's much work to be done, but I love the improvements that we've made on the offensive side of the ball. And, I feel like we're much more of a complete football team than we've been the past couple of years. We've got the ability to throw the ball effectively. We can run it effectively. We can be multiple in what we do offensively. That's obviously kickstarted with the work that the guys have done up front and being able to more than hold their own at the line of scrimmage. And it extends through, the changes that we've made in the wide receiver room and the development of other players along our offensive unit, and opportunities have come along and guys have taken advantage of them. And nobody's a greater example of that than Desmond Ridder. And we're just excited for our chance.